Today we'll be reviewing the different rating percentages, and we'll start off with 100% VA mental health rating criteria. This is the highest standalone rating you can get for any rateable mental health condition. And there's a few veterans in my boot camp that have 100% mental health rating. It happens. Personally, I have a 70% rating. 100% VA mental health rating for anxiety or depression is not going to put your marriage back together, but it will give you a little tax-free financial breathing room for the rest of your life. This is serious, guys. This isn't like, let me take a shot and do a half-assed attempt at filing a claim. You're at 30%. You're making like $300 a month. Do this right. Spend the money you need to spend. Get the doctors, whatever you need to do to get the medical evidence. And if you deserve to be 100%, then go prove it and get paid $3206.06. That's $3,200 a month. I mean, that's a huge difference. It's life-changing for you. I know it's life-changing for me. Get into the Hundo Club if that's where you deserve to be. 100% VA mental health rating. You're completely unable to function socially or at work with symptoms such as severely inappropriate behavior, ongoing hallucinations or delusions. You're a consistent threat of harming yourself or others, and you're unable to remember basic information such as names of close relatives, people around you. You have severe confusion and disorientation, and you're not able to care for yourself. So you don't need to have all of these things. You need to have some of these things. 100% rating it's a high rating. You need to have severe symptoms. And you add in your arrest records. Oh, I forgot about the psych holds. If you've gone down for a 5150 or a 5250, make sure you submit that as well. Your arrest records, restraining orders, all that stuff. Coupled with these severe conditions, that's usually the guys that get 100% rating. They've been locked up in both jail and in mental facilities. So if that's not you, and I'm not saying this is like, the end or be all, but the majority of people have been locked up in one of those two places. A 70% VA mental health rating. You are unable to function in most social and work areas with symptoms such as obsessive behaviors, checking the locks on the doors, having cameras around my house. I'm looking at my TV up there, spinning around, seeing your cameras all the time, having everything locked, security issues, illogical speech. If you watch me for any amount of time, a lot of things that I say is illogical speech. Depression and panic so persistent that it interferes with your ability to function. You also have suicidal thinking. You lack the ability to control your impulses and you just explode. You also don't really care too much about personal hygiene. You cannot handle stress of any kind, and you lack the ability to maintain relationships. This sounds like my life story. Does this sound familiar to you? Raise your hand, right? These types of symptoms, when properly reported and documented by a doctor, are exactly why 70% VA mental health rating is what most veterans end up with if they do this right. You need to report everything, get all this information, and you need to take a personal inventory and be real about this. And this should be painful. This is going to make you more upset. It's going to make you cry. It's going to probably make you suicidal. Like, you're going to need to go back to your skeleton closet. This is not easy. A 70% rating is not easy. But you have these symptoms. So quit ignoring them and get your 70% VA mental health rating. 50% VA mental health rating. You have some reduced reliability and productivity in your work and social life. You have symptoms like trouble understanding instructions, memory loss, forgetting to do things, poor judgment, mood disturbances, trouble with work and social relationships, and/or having one or more panic attacks weekly. Panic attacks show up in different parts of the rating criteria, and depending on how often you have them, that could swing you up or down a rating. You know, if you're at 50, more panic attacks could swing you up to 70, less panic attacks could swing you down to 30. So if you have panic attacks, you want to document those. I've had panic attacks for years. I didn't even know I was having panic attacks. I self-medicated with drugs and alcohol for years. So I was just numb and I was out of it all the time. So I didn't even really deal with panic attacks or reality. If this is you, get to a doctor, get some treatment, get some medication. I'm not saying that, this is all going to make you better, but it sure beats heavy alcohol abuse and hardcore drug abuse. That I can guarantee. And you'll be under the care of a physician. That's a lot better than self-medication. A 30% VA mental health rating. You have some trouble functioning socially and at work, and the VA calls it occasional decrease in work efficiency. I'm no doctor or lawyer or accredited, but this verbiage makes no sense to me whatsoever. Your symptoms include depression, anxiety, chronic difficulty sleeping, mild memory loss, suspiciousness, and panic attacks. But that only happens to you a few times a year, occasionally? It just doesn't even make any sense. That's stupid. I'm paranoid all the time, constant panic attacks, no interest in being around people. I have my head on a swivel 24/7, 365, and I've been like this for 30 years. I can't see how someone with serious mental health issues, can only have this a few times a year. But, if that is how you reported your symptoms, then this is exactly why you ended up with a 30% VA mental health rating. You underreported your symptoms. Oh, so you're suspicious and paranoid and you're like that all the time. But however they pose that question to you, you're like, oh yeah, I'm only like that on Valentine's Day, Thanksgiving, and Christmas. You underreported your symptoms, so you got a 30% rating. A 10% VA mental health rating. Mild symptoms creating work and social impairment when under significant stress, or mild symptoms managed successfully with continuous medication. This is another one. I take tons of meds for my mental health disabilities, but they don't make me all better. I take them because they do help, but they do not change me into a fully functioning human being. If you said that, oh yeah, all these lobotomy pills make me feel fine. That's why you don't say it. Your C&P examiner, how are you doing? How's your day? Oh, it's great. When they ask you how the meds make you feel, oh yeah, I feel great. They don't make you feel great. This is how you might have ended up with a 10% rating if you walked into your C&P exam and told them, oh yeah, the meds make me feel fine. I'm normal. Go get your VA claims file and look in your records from that old C&P exam. It'll say something and they'll quote you. Veteran feels normal and fine. 10% rating. A 0% VA mental health rating. With a 0% VA mental health rating, veterans have a diagnosis, but the symptoms are not severe enough to interfere with occupational or social functioning. Now, on this one, the VA has proposed some changes to the VA mental health rating criteria, and in that proposal, they're going to do away with the 0% rating. I mean, this makes sense, right? Think about it. How can you have a diagnosis for something that doesn't bother you at all? Of course, I'm using basic logic here, and this is a perfect example of how the VA doesn't use logic. Let me jump in here real quick and tell you about my boot camp. If you want to learn more about the VA claims process, check out my boot camp. You can talk to me live. There's a link on the website and in the description, combatcraig.com. And also, if you need medical evidence like a nexus or documenting your symptoms properly, go to our website, combatcraig.com, and it says medteam/nexus letters. Click on that link, fill out the form, boom, you're done.